Hello and welcome to Meet Our Makers. I am your host, Jeremy J. Facette. On this episode, we get to meet Thor Harris. Thor is a drummer, percussionist, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter from Austin, Texas. Or, as his Wikipedia page refers to him, he is an artist, sculptor, musician, painter, carpenter, and handyman. All of which Thor declares correct. Thor is maybe best known as the drummer of bands such as Shearwater and Swans, but he's played with many people across his long, esteemed career. In this chat, which Thor was kind enough to join me for, we cover everything from politics to music to art to the state of our world right now as the coronavirus pandemic continues to wreak havoc across the globe. We also touch upon Thor's attempt to become governor of Texas, a job he likely would have been quite good at. So please enjoy, and thank you for listening. This is me meeting Thor Harris.
What part of the world are you in?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so only an hour ahead of you.
Cool.
But hi, Thor. How are you?
Pretty good. I've been in quarantine for a month.
Yeah, we're coming up on that, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, God, it feels like so long because do you remember just as this was starting to happen was just before South by Southwest was supposed to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And I do this thing annually where I announce that South by Southwest is canceled, even though it's not. I've just done that for like 5 years on Twitter, and then finally they canceled it.
Has it not ever been canceled before?
No,
wow.
No, it's never been canceled. It started in the mid '80s, and I think I played like the first one or the second one or something, and I've played a lot of them since then. But finally got canceled.
But you're right, it does feel like it's been a real long time, and it really hasn't when you look at other places of the world that were ahead of us and are still in quarantine.
You know, it's an amazing fact that I keep I'm going to keep tweeting this fact. South Korea and US both got their first cases of COVID-19 on January 19th.
I've seen that.
And they're,
Are they like out in the world again, though? Or are they just doing better?
they're doing way better for sure. I don't know if they're completely out of quarantine everywhere in South Korea. I'm not sure, but they have testing. I mean, that's huge. Right. You know what I've been wondering today is like, what's the Republican strategy on this? Like,
I know.
What will they achieve by, tricking people into going out in the world and infecting each other?
I know if we do end up prematurely reopening, I'm just, if their whole goal is to, benefit business or whatever, okay, we'll benefit it for a week maybe, and then everyone's going to get infected and the businesses are all going to close again. So I'm not sure like if they're in such denial that they genuinely don't think that'll happen, then they're in for a rude awakening. But if they do understand what's happening and are lying and tricking us, like you said, then how can they not have the foresight to see that this is just going to happen again right away? It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't understand what makes Republicans or their supporters. I rarely understand their motivations.
I mean, sometimes you can kind of even if you vehemently disagree, you can kind of understand their motive behind something, even if you think it's a bad motive. Or like
Yeah,
you can kind of untangle like the scheme that they might have, whoever
yeah.
they is. But here, I can't.
Oh, me neither.
It's just odd.
Have you ever been to Austin?
I have not. I've wanted to.
It's a cool place. If this apocalypse ends,
Yeah.
you ever want to visit? It's
Yeah,
pretty.
I was going to go. I say that like it was really a plan. There was a very sort of ephemeral plan that I was going to go to South by a few years ago, um, but did not. It fell through.
I
Um,
like. I liked your record that you sent me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you even listening. You're very kind on social media.
Oh yeah, I'm that. I'm kind. I'm from a family of really kind people. Isn't it weird that you don't know what your family is like until you've lived like away from them out in the world for a while?
Hmm.
Because my dad died when I was 10, I thought that we were sort of like a sad, busted family,
Hmm.
but we really weren't. I mean, we were always like there were only four of us left then, me, my sister, my brother, and my mom. But we were always like really supportive of each other, and
Did you just not realize that till later?
I didn't really realize that. I mean, you sort of like as an adult, you kind of re-fall in love with your family. Like
Hmm.
I certainly in my late 20s after a nervous breakdown, I just kind of really got to know my mom and my brother and sister over again, with
Hmm.
much more sort of fierce, rigorous honesty.
Hmm.
And my mom died a couple of years ago, but yeah, I love my family, and they are all very kind, and that's why I am.
Well, that's nice though when you can attribute such a positive quality to something like a family, because some people definitely don't have that experience.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean,
you're right. I mean, I don't think we all, maybe some people do, but I don't think we all notice the ripple effects of living with those people for so long until you are no longer living with them. It's true.
yeah, yeah. They set up your basic operating system, and then the rest is just like plugging different situations into it, and
Yeah.
hopefully reacting with some degree of sensitivity. And I mean, the first thing a shrink does when she or he is analyzing you is like delve into your childhood, and that's because that's where the basic patterns get programmed.
Yeah, that's where the seeds are laid for sure. It's interesting though that you say that that you're aware of your kindness and that you know even where it comes from, because that has been such a thing that I've noticed about you over the years. So
Oh,
you seem
thanks.
like a very kind person. I mean, the album you guys put out a couple years ago is what, the subversive nature of kindness?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think that's the one I found in my record store. I forget now. I have one of
Oh,
yours on my shelf.
awesome. We have
um,
we have two more. It's funny. So I made 6 records last year for Joyful Noise, and those
yeah.
they came out in a box set, and those sold out. The box sets sold out. Um, but we had a few left, and I got 40 copies of Thorn Friends 3 and 4. Those are the follow-ups to
Okay.
Versive Nature of Kindness. I was just going to sell them as merch on tour, but as Peg said, I don't think we're going to be able to. I don't think anyone's going to be able to tour until we get a vaccine, because if different parts of the country are having their apex at different times, like you, how would that be possible that
I
you could?
know it makes me sad thinking about all the people who already rescheduled and they only rescheduled for like August.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's exceedingly optimistic. I'll be really surprised if anyone gets around much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, I know people have been doing, or some people have been doing the like Instagram live and the YouTube live. I don't know if you guys were ever going to go down that lane or not.
I don't know if we are. Yeah, I've been meaning. I missed one yesterday. AJJ, Andrew Jackson
Hmm.
Jihad. You
Hmm.
know that?
Yeah, I didn't know they were doing that, but yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, my friend Bria watched it, and yeah, I love that band.
I've been watching some of them. I mean, obviously, there's scores of people who were going to tour and now are not, so I'm probably missing most of them. But I know I caught some Colin Malloy stuff, and I caught Tallest Man on Earth just played the whole Wild Hunt record on YouTube Live. That was nice.
Oh, cool.
Um, and just like a lot of them are just kind of, you know, they might play for an hour, but they stream for 2 hours because they kind of just hang there and talk for free usually. I know some of them, some people are charging for those things. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but
Yeah, I don't either.
I know I
Um,
do feel for the people whose main or only avenue was this tour that got canceled.
yeah,
I do feel for them.
I do too. It's a man. It's a hard way to make a living playing music. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean it is anyway.
when it pays well, that's great, but it's kind of fleeting.
I know I think of basically most of the people that I listen to in my, you know, normal time are not supported by the huge industry or the machine, or they don't have some hit song that's still a hit, like, you know, so they are just thriving off of this tour release, and now they can't even tour. I mean, some people are rush releasing things. um
Yeah,
I know Laura Marling just put out a new album that was 6 months almost ahead of schedule because she was like, well, why the hell not? um,
yeah,
but then other people are pushing their albums, and I've been kind of curious about that. Like, a lot of people that I'm friends with and follow online are just saying, well, why are you pushing the album? I know you can't tour or promote it, but you know, your entire fan base is home right now and really could use some, you know, something to get them through what's going on. So there, I mean, I understand both tactics. I'm just, you know, it's interesting seeing who's doing what.
yeah. I've never been interested in the music business
Hmm.
or any business, but so I leave it up to the Joyful Noise people. But we have two new records, um, Thorn Friends 3 and 4. They're gonna get they're getting manufactured, but I think our they were supposed to get released at the end of June, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm curious if most of the summer records are going to either be pushed for a long time or if they're going to be digital only for a while. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
we could use those records. I guess the is the downside to digital only that once people have them digitally, they'll never actually order the vinyl.
It's probably one of the concerns. I mean, I could imagine someone spending $10 on a, you know, a Bandcamp release, and then it doesn't come out for 7 more months. So by the time it comes out, maybe they don't feel as inspired to go buy the physical copy. I don't know if people are worried about that or not, but I mean, that would be a concern of mine.
I love Bandcamp.
Oh, me too.
I've been I've been doing a lot of commercials for them, as well as a fair amount of bashing of all the other um, streaming platforms. Um, they're the one that looks out for the artists.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a little strange that when I try to think of the landscape we're in now, that Bandcamp is sort of the only name that I can think of that is doing what they do. And you would think by now, because they've been doing what they do for a while, you'd think by now that someone else, whether it, you know, it probably wouldn't be Spotify or Apple Music, but someone else might try to do something similar, because they have so many people on their platform, from people making $0 because they just want a place to put their music to people all the way up the chain. So it's, I love
Yeah.
Bandcamp. I mean, I've used it for years. They really do look out for the artists. They take a share, but it's a fair share. And if you are someone
Totally.
who's selling more than like one album a month, like if you are someone steadily selling on Bandcamp, you're going to be fine with that share. It's like pretty nominal in the end.
Yeah.
And I like their platform. It's just so easy and it's intuitive, and they don't hide behind anything that I can find. And I don't know,
Yeah.
I've always really liked them.
When I started bashing Spotify, I, learned a little about them. They're a Swedish company.
Oh, I didn't
I
know
always,
that.
yeah, I always think like, oh, they must be like some awful bros living in Brooklyn, with huge office building.
Made of glass.
Yeah, glass, but it's a Swedish company. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm sure they have offices here in the
Yeah.
empire, but
Yeah.
which is surprising because Scandinavians are usually so progressive and fair-minded.
Maybe not all the time.
One funny thing, one year for during South by Southwest, I had a party or something. I didn't go to it, but they had rented this mansion and to have their party, and there weren't live bands playing there or anything. It was just like booze and whatever. And they changed out the chandeliers in the mansion because I guess the chandeliers weren't hip enough or something. I but then like somehow they got my number because they needed someone who knew how to come in, put the old chandeliers back up, and take the rented. I didn't know you could rent chandeliers, but
No, me neither.
take the rented ones down, and so I charged them a hefty fucking fee to take
Good.
down the chandeliers and put back the the ones that belonged in this mansion. And yeah, just as I was looking around, I was like, oh man, they spent so many tens of thousands of dollars to put on this party. Didn't it ever occur to them to pay artists a little better?
I know.
And I guess the answer is no.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, I'm a big Joanna Newsom fan. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember the interview she did. I forget with who, but she called them the banana of the music industry because she hates bananas.
Uh,
She was like, no one likes a banana. Just look at it. They're the banana of the music industry. She's like, I'll never put my music on there. And I loved that when Drag City did end up putting almost all of their music on all the streaming services, she ended up on every one but Spotify.
oh, that's
So I'm
great.
I'm sure she has some stipulation where she was like, no, no way.
She's great. She and I were in the last incarnation of the band Smog
Oh, I
together.
didn't know. I didn't know she was involved with Smog. I knew she knew Smog.
Yeah, she it was me, Joanna, and Bill, and we just did a short Europe tour, which was a blast. And then shortly after that, then or on the next record, Bill started going just by Bill Callahan and
Mm-hmm.
not Smog.
Mm-hmm.
But she was
Yeah,
really fun. She was really funny and fun to travel with. And
yeah. I've heard a few interviews with her and seen her live a couple times. She does seem to have a very good sense of humor.
yeah.
Um, but that bridges nicely into what I was going to bring up after we got done talking about all the fun COVID stuff. Um, was basically just that you are mostly known as a drummer and percussionist, but you've been a drummer and percussionist and probably multi instrumentalist that I don't even know with so many people, and including Smog. I knew about Smog and Lisa Germano and Ben Frost and Devendra Banhart, and I was just sort of curious because a lot of those people started in the late '90s. I was kind of curious how you ended up sort of linking into that scene, that groove.
Um, it, sometime in the 90s, or in the early 90s, I went through some hellish depression. And when I came out of it, I found that I had like jettisoned a lot of I'd really gotten deeply in touch with my mortality.
Mm-hmm.
I had just jettisoned a lot of my worldly fears. And so since that time, I just reach out to anyone that I think I would want to play with. So in the case of Lisa Germano, that didn't happen that way. A friend of ours hooked us up, but I wrote a letter to the Swans. Like I wrote them a postcard, and then I went to their show and met them before their show, and they remembered the postcard that I had sent.
Mm.
So that's how I met them. And then Bill Callahan, I wrote a note on a napkin and gave it to this realtor that I knew had helped him buy his first house in Austin. And then I think the note said something like, "Hey, my name is Thor. I live in Austin. Welcome to town. I've played drums. I've played with these people. Call if you ever need my services." But I knew that Bill, switched bands like almost every album has
Mm.
different. Um, and I've just done that. Like that's how I have gotten most of my gigs. And then also, as you said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm friendly and
Yeah.
you know approachable, and like if I see like if we're playing a show and the opening band is setting up, I will go and meet them and
Well, that's
make
very nice.
make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
And not everybody does that.
No,
It,
they definitely don't.
yeah, it's always weird being an opening band and feeling like you're just sort of in the way. And I was, certainly done years and years in that role,
Mm-hmm.
being the in the way opening band. So I just have tried to soften the rough edges of the touring music
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yeah. So when you say that you like tried to jettison your worldly fears, does that end up leading? So basically, you just ask, like, you just kind of stopped being afraid of any sort of weirdness, or if you got a no, or if it was whatever the person might have thought. You were just like, I like what this person does. I think I would work well with them, so I'm just going to offer it to them.
Yeah, exactly that.
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I knew at that point that it wouldn't hurt my feelings if I never heard back from these people.
Hmm.
At the very least, I've given them a compliment, and
Right.
and which I wanted to give them, and I thought I still think about, like, if somebody that I am not interested in their music asks me to play with them, it's a nice compliment.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just like things like envy and pride. Just I guess that during that hellish sort of nervous breakdown, I got a better at sort of emotional hygiene, and got better at murdering the parts of myself that I hated.
Mm. So then if throughout the 90s, really up till probably the late 90s or early 2000s, you come up in a lot of album credits is basically what I'm trying to say. So you were kind of this guy for hire who was playing with a lot of different kinds of acts. But then, so how did you end up becoming an actual member of Shearwater?
Shearwater. Let's see. I played like in the case of that band. They started out in '99, and I just saw them live, and I thought that they were great, and
Hmm.
that was, I guess you would call them an emo band, is sort of how they started out, like sad sort of folk songs that when you heard them, they were complex enough that you could imagine some more intricate instrumentation, rather than just a guitar or banjo and voice. Um, and the two singers were Jonathan Myberg, who still has that band Shearwater, and Will Chef, who he's that band Ockerville River.
Right.
But yeah, when I saw them, they were both real young, um, super talented, writing beautiful, sad songs, and I thought they were great. And I just said, "Hey, I would love to come play vibraphone with you guys," because it didn't sound like they needed loud drums or anything. And so the band existed like that, with just sort of minimal orchestrations around these pretty songs. And then we made a record with this producer named Craig Ross, not to be confused with the Craig Ross that plays with Lenny Kravitz, but the other Craig Ross, Austin, Texas's Craig Ross. And he, at that point, Will was kind of getting really busy with the band Ockerville River. And so Will quit the band. It became a one singer. Talk Talk, and like late period Talk Talk, and
Hmm.
Peter Gabriel. It started to get kind of more proggy,
Hmm.
that Shearwater, and more ambitious instrumentally, which Jonathan was up for. He's good at playing instruments.
Yeah, I'm actually talking to him this week. Just
Cool.
by sheer coincidence, you
Tell
two
him
both responded that to say yes, and you talked to me.
tell him hi. We've been meaning to hang out and chat. One super interesting thing about Jonathan. Well, he's a bird scientist. That's pretty common knowledge. But
Hmm.
his dad was the number 2 guy in the CDC during the Obama era.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he knows a lot about uh, epidemics and things like that. And I've been trying to schedule a phone call with Jonathan just to talk to him about that.
Hmm.
He lives in Central Texas again. He doesn't live in Austin. He lives in a really beautiful little town called Dripping Springs.
What a great name for a town.
Yeah.
So really, you got Shearwater kind of the same way. I mean, you just saw them, and you were like, I feel like I would link up with them well.
Yeah. I just told him, here's my number. Call me if
Hmm.
you want help
Hmm.
executing beautiful music. At that point, they only had one record, which is really awesome. I don't know if it can be found anymore. It's called The Dissolving Room. That's their.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've heard it, but I bet you could find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So you had gone, you were in one band, Shearwater, for quite a while, and then nowadays, I feel like most people that I talk to, if I ever mention your name, they think of Swans. But you met Swans way earlier, right? Because you
Yeah.
had been in Angels of Light stuff
Mm-hmm.
before.
Yeah. By the time I met Shearwater, I had already toured a couple of years with Angels of Light,
Okay.
and played on the first few Angels of Light records. That was a dream come true playing in that band.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and the more, I guess, impressive my resume got, the more I felt like, okay, just cold calling or writing to my heroes and offering my services. But you know, I think anyone should do it, at even if they've never played on a record. Just
Yeah. I mean, the worst that'll happen is the person will say no. Very rarely, I would think someone would get annoyed with you. They're just going to say no if they want to say no,
yeah,
or they might not respond at all, and then it is what it is.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you, despite having a resume that is pretty lengthy and you've played with some great people, you do seem like you've stayed pretty humble and grounded. At
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
least it seems like you have.
I have, and I think about that a lot. I think about when people don't. I think it's often because their success happens real young in their career. I
Mm,
was I was pretty old, really, by the time I started touring the world playing. I was like 30 by
yeah.
by the time I started going to Europe all the time and playing big festivals and stuff. Before that, I had toured, but mostly just America, and I was just sort of struggling. I mean, we're always struggling, right? But
Hmm.
um, I didn't. The people that I meet that sort of lose their heads and get real cocky. I think it's people who get who've gotten outrageous, tremendous success early on, and then they're just spending the rest of their lives trying to live up or live that success down. You know.
Yeah, it must set up a weird sort of alchemy within that person who, really hit it big really early or really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
versus someone who works for 10 or even 20 years before they get that level of success. So you have all of those years of just sort of trekking around and just like doing what you do despite or maybe in spite of not having that success, but you kept doing it. And I feel like that process must inevitably for most people help ground you because you
Yeah.
you saw the whole, journey up to that point versus someone who maybe is 19 and puts out one song and it gets super viral and then they win a bunch of Grammys and they're only 20 years old. So they never had that like long stretch where they had to learn how to really do their thing.
Yeah.
Then they have more pressure really early on too,
Yeah.
to some degree anyway.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, I don't know if you feel pressure to keep creating or if you just create for you at this point.
I think a little bit of both. I don't
Hmm.
mind the. I do feel a little bit like, yeah, I feel driven to keep making things, but yeah, I mean, a lot of it, like I started my band Thor and Friends right after I got out of Swans, and I did feel a kind of urgency, like, okay, people know who I am right now because of Swans.
Hmm.
To get Thor and Friends started, but I don't know that that was even realistic. I think I could have, you know, that was just sort of my own restless kind of self doubt
Yeah. I mean, are you
stuff.
someone who's like always creating something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but it's what I'm trying to learn is that that's not where my worth comes from,
Hmm.
because I'm afraid that I do think that I'm only worth what I've created in the last 10 minutes or two thing. And that, that's, it's not a very Buddhist way to see the world.
No, it's probably not the healthiest way.
No,
And
I think
especially, I mean, it's good that you seem to, even though you might instinctually go there, you also know like that that's probably not true. So that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on some level, I, I know, I guess, that my worth comes from different things,
Hmm.
kind and and generosity of spirit are worth so much more than, like, for instance, I made this video. Well, first I made a zine about depression, and then in I don't know what year it was, but maybe 2010 or something. No, 2012. I made a video for the mental health channel that went crazy viral, and it was just a video of me talking about how I deal with depression. And man, so many people. I didn't do anything. I hung out at my house for 2 solid days with a camera crew, and then they edited all that down to the 7-minute video. But I didn't really do anything. I just answered some questions that this video producer guy asked me, and then he did all this editing, and that video was so helpful to so many people. And that doesn't have to do with anything, like, that doesn't have a level of productivity. It just had to do with me, being honest about a challenge that I deal with.
Yeah. Well, sometimes being honest and open and is the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's as inspiring or generous a gift to the world, certainly, as making great art. Great
Mhm.
art, it's awesome too, but when you meet someone who's really genuine and honest and, like, generous with their time, that's so refreshing.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird, like, the way this is, what I wonder, and you may have a better answer because I don't. I just have the question, is like, how is this pandemic going to affect the way that we all perceive time?
I know.
Because we had, seems like life our lives were all just running faster, 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 but now we're having to stop, and the world's moving. It's almost still,
Yeah.
which is pretty awesome in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think some people are probably really taking it um for what it's worth and really pausing and there are whole families who are stuck at home and hopefully they're not at each other's throats and they're, enjoying this time that they never really got to have. I mean, I spend 8 hours a day in my house alone because I
Yeah,
work because I've been working from home, and my boyfriend doesn't, so I've been, alone with the dog, but, besides that, I have noticed time has been different. I mean, the news has started telling us what day it is, it's like
yeah,
it's because people are forgetting. People are I genuinely am like, "Oh, I thought it was Tuesday, it was Monday, it was Wednesday," like, when it's Friday, so it is true.
yeah,
Time is definitely moving in a weird way, and I did see something on the news, I forget if it was, like, national news or local news, but some, guy they had on talking was saying, right now most people are engaging in more kindness and openness and generosity. Like you might wave to people outside that you wouldn't have waved to. And his worry was, will we all still be like this when the world speeds up again? And I'm hesitant to say that we will. I mean,
yeah,
like you said, everyone was kind of going so fast before. And I think inevitably we'll probably largely end up back there where people just don't smile or say hi or wave or talk to strangers or whatever the case may be. I mean, I hope some of this kindness lasts, keeps going. But I don't know. It's unclear because we've never been like this.
Yeah.
It's a little unnerving, but also can be really useful. So I'm not really sure how everyone's taking it or what's going to happen when it's over. And also the over, we keep talking about when it's over, but
Yeah.
I don't know what that even looks like. I mean, I keep calling it a soft reopening. Like you can't just reopen the whole country all at once, no matter if it's quote unquote gone or not. Like, I'm a teacher, so I work in schools, and schools are one of the easiest ways you could spread it through a whole community really quickly. And so I feel like schools should be one of the last things to open.
I was thinking about that too when Peg started talking about they're not going to people aren't going to start touring again this year or
Yeah, it's the
till
same idea. You get 1,000 people in a room, even if they're all immune, they can
yeah.
carry it home to 1,000 houses, and then it just starts up again. So I'm not sure how you reopen.
Yeah. Do you teach at public school or
Yeah,
college?
no, I teach at a high school.
Man, that's so awesome. That's I for a little while I was a high school art teacher and I loved that job.
Yeah, I'm an English teacher.
Cool.
So we've been doing online learning. This is the fourth week. It's very different, much different. It's very strange. I don't think we're going
Are there
back this
things that
year.
you like about it?
About the online teaching?
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more streamlined. It's a lot more organized, I guess, in a way.
Mhm.
My colleagues and I who teach the same courses will, we meet once or twice a week. We plan the next week ahead. So we have the whole week planned, and it's really just regimented. It's routine. We don't have that face-to-face interaction really anymore. I mean, some teachers have been doing video chatting with their students, but not all of us have. I haven't. Um, so it is a little bit strange. But I do miss being, going in the morning and being there and
Yeah.
I don't know, talking about stuff that's not school related, because some of the best moments in a kid's day are those like 30 seconds in between things where you just are kind of shooting the breeze with them.
Yeah.
And you can't
I
really
thought
do that, you can't really do that online because they're just, okay, well, here's my assignment, here's my post, here's my work, submit.
that when I was a high school art teacher, I thought that too. I thought, well, you know, I studied art in, all since I was a little kid, even through college. So there's a lot I could teach them about that, but they probably get more out of just like me listening to them and paying attention to their thoughts and ideas and
Hmm.
just being like a weird adult who's
Yeah.
like has done like chosen a weird path that's different from most adults. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm only 27 years old, so I'm
yeah,
not that much older than them. And so that's always been, I mean, I've been a teacher for a few years now, and it's gotten a little better, but has always been like a hang up of mine that I'm so close to them in age. So I try not sometimes I consciously try not to be too, I don't know what the word is, like familiar.
yeah, yeah,
But I can't help it to an extent, because that sometimes is the best part of the day, is just that connection you make with them about something stupid or something important or whatever. As you said, you're just being this weird adult who maybe doesn't look like all the other adults in their lives and
yeah,
doesn't act like other adults in their lives. And for a good deal of the kids, that's enough. And if they can identify that in you, that's great. And sometimes that makes them better students in your class too.
yeah,
I know people will often say, especially higher ups in education will often say, "Oh, it doesn't matter if they like you. What matters is that they respect you." And like I got taught that all through grad school, and I understand where they're coming from, but to a certain point, kids are going to be kids. I mean, I teach high school, so I have some 18-year-olds who are almost, fully functioning adults, but I also teach 14-year-olds, and so kids are kids, and if they really don't like you for whatever reason, it can be really hard to get their buy-in. So
yeah.
I do, I try to strike the balance. It's hard though.
Hmm.
But that balance is harder online. So, for example, if I started a school year at a new school with this online thing, it would be so different than if I had met my kids before, which I have currently,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think that helps a lot that I knew who the kids were before going into this.
Yeah, one of my best friends, he's been my friend since I was about 14 or 15. He's a high school theater teacher, and I've watched him get when he first started, he was more in that school of it doesn't matter if they like you, but you have to make them respect you. But now he's way more in that familial kind of like he makes friends with them.
Mhm.
He blurs that line a lot
Yeah.
more. He's definitely more of an authoritarian than I was as a teacher. I was definitely like, I'm one of y'all. I just happen to
Mhm.
be older and I studied art a lot. So,
Yeah.
you but he's not quite like that. But he, as he's been doing that job for like 20 something years, he has gotten more sort of relaxed with his students.
Yeah, I think with a lot of teachers that comes with time and comfort in the job. I mean, I haven't worked at any school long enough to sort of, get tenure and get stature there, so I haven't had that comfort really granted to me yet to feel
Yeah.
like I can really like luxuriate in it and ease into it. So I'm still sort of in the middle, I guess.
Yeah. And what does your boyfriend do? What's his work?
He works in human resources. He's a director. So but he's a director at a healthcare place, so they're still open, so he has to go in.
Yeah.
I think otherwise he might work from home or not be working, but because he's in the healthcare industry, his job, his place is still up and running.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
So,
but he sits in an office all day. He's not like at a hospital,
oh,
so that's good.
yeah.
He has his own office. There's other people there, but he has his own room, and it's at a separate building. So I'm hoping that that's helpful
Yeah.
because I really feel for the people who are going out every day because they have to. And I mean,
Hmm.
we try to go grocery shopping like every 3 weeks because we're like so scared to go. And
Yeah.
our next door neighbor is a nurse, and it's just my uh, dad's wife is a nurse, so it's tough out there right now. You see the
Yeah.
news. I mean, you watch the news, and we were just talking about this the other day. It's nothing but COVID news,
Yeah.
and that's because there is no other news.
Yeah.
And some of it is the really bleak stories from the hospitals, and I don't know. It's when this is all over. I mean, somehow I feel like we have to do something for them.
Yeah.
I don't know what or on what scale or what would be possible, but it's sort of heartbreaking to watch the healthcare workers talk about this.
And some of them are dying.
I know.
I don't know how many doctors have died in the US, but huge number of doctors died in Italy.
Hmm. I mean, they're trying all they can try, but there's a limit to that.
Hmm.
So it's pretty sad. And I don't know what I mean. They keep saying, okay, the curve is flattening, but that's not the same as it going down. So I don't know when it's gonna turn around.
Yeah.
Um, so to pivot entirely, I did want to ask before we ended, what compelled Thor Harris to run for governor of Texas?
So
Because that always really interested me.
what happened? I was on tour with this great singer named Adam Torres. Um, he makes beautiful music, and hopefully he'll want to put out a record again someday. But it was just a few years ago, and I was listening. I was up early. I think I went running. I was listening to the news, and I just sat there with my phone. And we were staying with some really nice people somewhere in the southeast. And there was a big rainbow gay flag waving above me. And the news that morning was that Texas was trying to instate a bathroom ban like
Oh,
North Carolina
right.
had done. It was just so idiotic. It was just
Hmm.
pandering to the evangelicals and their hatred for everyone. And so with that flag waving above my head and my giant scary beard, I said, "Howdy, my name's Thor Harris and I'm running for governor of Texas because fuck this." And fuck this meant like fuck Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton and
The whole state of things.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just so idiotic and not helpful. I mean, and that's how it is now.
Yeah.
Greg Abbott's doing nothing to help Texas prepare for what's coming in the next week or so. So then, like within minutes of my posting that video to Twitter and Instagram, Pitchfork texted me or emailed me and said, "Hey, are you really running for governor?" And so I thought, no, of course not. But then I thought, I don't know, why not?
Sure.
I'm clearly smarter and more I don't know, have a way better moral compass than the guy that's doing that job now. So why the hell not? And then so I didn't deny it when I was asked for the next few months, and I made a few more videos, like, and I pay attention to my state politics as well. So I think I would have really had a fierce debate with Greg Abbott, whereas the woman, Lupe Valdez, who ended up running on the Democratic ticket, she didn't really understand what a terrible job he's done of not funding our public schools, and our maternal mortality rate is just crazy. We're the most uninsured state in the nation. So he's just such a huge failure. I mean, even aside from their hateful policies toward trans people, and so that's how it ended up happening. The way I got out of the race, not that I really campaigned or did much, I felt like the way you needed to do it if you really wanted to defeat an incumbent idiot like that is the way Beto did it. I mean, he's pretty much a progressive, but he just went and met everyone in the state. I mean, he was campaigned so hard.
And he got so close
To defeating our most idiotic. Well, it's close. John Cornyn is our other senator, and he's really just as awful as Ted Cruz. So
I have a friend from college who lives in Houston, or she doesn't now, but she came from Houston, and she was thrilled that Beto even got so close, because she was sad that he lost and she wanted to have it out. But the fact, like, she was just like, the fact that we got this close, hopefully next time, this is like, a sign that something is shifting, because that was a big deal. I mean, I remember the night after the day after the election, people were talking about the blue wins, but they were also talking about that, because that was almost a win, and almost a win is more than anyone probably, any of the prognosticators were predicting.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal.
Yeah. I don't, progress is way behind, but
yeah, it happens in fits and spurts though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before I go, I just want to ask, because I like asking this, is there anything that you are listening to, watching, or reading that is helping you stay sane right now? Even a little bit.
Yeah. What am I listening to? I follow this guy, A Maximus, on Twitter, and he recommends all these strange ambient groups
Hmm.
that all have their stuff on Bandcamp. Um, if you're on, yeah, you're on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, because I'll repost a lot of his stuff.
Okay.
Um, and he recommends really cool music all the time. I listen to the New York Times podcast, which is called The Daily. And we listened to this doctor named John Campbell. He's an English epidemiologist, and he talks um, about the plague that we're in,
Right.
and explains the science of it in real sensible terms. Um, Musicians, and I think you can back me up on this. Musicians are fascinated with science, so I listen to tons of science podcasts. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite bands that I've discovered, and of course they don't exist anymore, is a Brazilian group called Wakichi, which is spelled Uakti.
Hmm.
So I've listened to them a lot lately.
It's
Um,
always interesting when you find a band you like and then you look them up and you find that their last record was like 20 years ago and they don't make stuff
yeah,
anymore.
a band that exists right now that I love is called Next. Do you know Next?
I don't think so.
Like what your head is
Oh, yes, I have heard of them. I've never listened to them. I've seen the
amazing.
name around though.
Yeah, each of their pieces is like a sort of slow moving meditation that takes about an hour. And so each of their pieces is about an hour long, and it's just amazing. And it does, like this pandemic, it sort of obscures your perception of time,
Hmm.
which it's sort of the like I really love that in when music can do that. And a lot of the minimalists and a lot of electronic music do that,
Mm-hmm.
like mess with your sense of time. um, Anything on that Room 40 label out of Brisbane is certainly interesting and worth hearing.
Hmm.
A guy named Lawrence English he's the head of that label, and they put out just tons of interesting stuff.
I'll have to look into that.
Um, and yeah, I still have to get tons of exercise, so that's another key piece of my sanity.
I know I've been trying at least a couple times a week to go out with the dog and walk around and
Good.
try. I know you like dogs. That's one of my favorite things you do is repost animal pictures.
Yeah.
I've probably sent you a few before because it's just,
Good.
it's nice. It's nice to see a cute pet every now and then.
Sure is. I can't get enough of that. Also, yeah, send me anything that you ever want amplified. Like, send me this episode when you post it, and yeah, if I can ever be of any help.
I appreciate that. This one will the first one's going up tomorrow. I recorded that last week, so this one will probably go up next week, but I can I'll definitely send you a link when it is up. I would have anyway, probably, because I figured maybe you'd want a link of it when it's up since you're in it. Um, one of my I forgot it was on my notes, but one of my favorite things, just really quick, is that on Wikipedia you are listed as Thor Harris, comma, artist, sculptor, musician, painter, carpenter, and handyman.
Yeah,
Does that sound accurate to you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It does. I like that they listed that. Like,
Yeah, and they have a source like from the Austin Chronicle or something, and so I looked at it, and you don't say that anywhere. So I don't know who put that there, but I love it.
oh, that's funny.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, like when I was young, I was like, well, I'm a dumb, strong guy I know how to fix things. So this is my job. But then later I like acknowledged that it's like a kind of aptitude that's really awesome to have.
Oh yeah.
And there just aren't enough skilled tradesmen in the world. And now I really love that job. And I miss it. Like if I'm on a tour or something, I miss cutting and shaping materials and making things work that didn't work. And
yeah. Well, that's a very nice way to put it. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Thor.
Yeah, it's so nice to talk to you, Jeff.
I know we've chatted sometimes, so it's nice to finally get to actually talk to you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Yeah, stay positive, stay healthy.
All right, you too.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.